So let's see. All right, there's 40. Hold on, Moose. That's 1. Okay, that's 40 again, and 2. Welcome back, everybody. All right, this is part 2. We put new PowerStop brakes, pads, calipers, and rotors on the 5th Gen 4Runner, the Overland rig, and we need to bleed the brakes. Last video was too long, so we're doing part 2. We're trying something completely different. We're gonna use one-way valves, which look like these. There's a couple different variations. They're cheap kit on Amazon, and we bought some of these bottles. You can just use Gatorade bottles if you want. It doesn't really matter, water bottles, but I bought some nice, fresh, clean bottles that we're gonna keep as a dedicated one-person drain, flush, bleed, whatever you wanna call it, working on your brakes as a one-man band. This is our kit. So, one-way valves, one for each caliper, a bottle for each caliper, a syringe so we can suck the old brake fluid out of the master, and then I picked up some extra hose just in case, because you never know. Besides, it's good to have in the shop, right? So first thing we're gonna do, we got a 5/16 drill bit and we've got our bottles. We're gonna take the cap off and we are gonna drill a 5/16 hole in the center. These are heavy duty bottles, which is why I bought them like that. Make sure there's no plastic left in there, right? And then we're gonna take this hose and the hole is just smaller. We're gonna stuff that hose right in that bottle. Then put that lid on there. This is our one-man bleeding system. I'll show you how this goes on. We're doing this, by the way, for the very first time, just us, because I've never done this before this way. Obviously, bled lots of brakes, but usually with a friend pumping the pedal. So on the caliper, here, let's bring you right in here. Hopefully it's not too dark for the camera. But anyway, this is your bleeder, and then this hose fits on it very tightly. So you gotta work on it. If you're into that sort of thing, spin on it first. That goes right on there, like that. Now we got our bottle, which will sit right here. There is on these bleeder valves, these, if you're not familiar with these, they're a one-way valve basically. So you can push air, fluid, whatever, one way, and then it stops itself. So air can't come back in. So the idea is when you press the brake pedal, you're gonna push fluid out this bleeder valve. When you loosen it, it'll go in through the valve, and then when you let off the brake, it won't allow air back in. So hence, instead of somebody sitting down here, opening the valve, push on the brake and tighten the valve, this is supposed to do that for you. So we lowered the vehicle down to the ground, which makes it slightly inconvenient to work on, genitalium, but this is how it has to be done. Now our bottle sits down on the floor. Let's see if I can get you guys out of here. So we got a bottle, we got our bleeder screw there. I know we got a wrench somewhere. I think it's hiding in my butt. Hang on, gotta get it out of the pocket. Yep, here we go. And then basically you just open that valve up. I might like zip tie the bottle so it stays put, but I think we're good there. So that valve should be open. So if we push on brakes, we should push fluid out. Let's see what happens. Oh, it pushed a little bit of fluid out. All right. Bring you back in a second. We got to get the rest of them set up, and when we get everything set up properly, I will let you guys know. And then we'll do this together for the first time. Hopefully it works, because otherwise this video is going to suck, huh? All right, we got all our bottles hooked up on all 4 calipers. Now we are going to come in. We are using, since I bought a whole case of this, TBM Brakes Extreme 6. This is a DOT 5.1. Now, you got to be careful with certain brake fluids and certain braking systems. Toyota recommends a DOT 3. You can use a DOT 4. Some .5s you can't use with ABS and everything else, but right here, this one is compatible with all .3 and .4. Speak properly. All .3 and .4 brake fluids, just the composition of it. I think it has to do with certain additives in some .5s. But we are going to top off our reservoir, make sure your funnel and the area around is nice and clean when you do this. And we're just going to fill it right up because we are bleeding out the stock brakes. Now, if you're doing this, that's why I just unhooked my brake lines when I was doing the caliper. If you watched the last video when we put all new pads, calipers, and rotors on this, I just cut the brake lines hang, and the majority of the fluid had already drained very low out of this. If you're doing this as a dedicated brake flush, pop the cap, get yourself a big syringe or some sort of siphon, make sure it's clean, and suck all the existing fluid out of the reservoir. And then fill it with fresh, and then that's how you cycle your brakes. You pump your brakes, push all the fluid through all the lines, suck the new fluid down, push the old fluid out, bada boom, bada bing, you start getting fresh brake fluid through everything. So we have this thing topped off. We're actually gonna add a little bit more out of the next container. Let's see here. Oh, it's a hard seal on that, hard seal. Wrench it. Again, always make sure everything is clean when you're working on your brakes. There it goes. All right, that whole reservoir is full right to the top now. Make sure you put the cap back on. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to open both valves on the rear. I'm not so much worried about bleeding the brakes yet as I am about getting all the fluid out. So what I am going to do first is pump the brakes with just the two back bleeders open and try to get as much of this new brake fluid in the back as possible. Got to start the vehicle for this because of the whole ABS and electronics and computer and stuff. I'm going to drop you guys right here by this tire, and you guys let me know if this actually works the way we want, because I'm not sure. Let's see here. We're going to crack this valve open, and I'm going to crack the valve on the passenger side as well. So, all right, now we can start the vehicle and hopefully make this work. If we had the keys. Gotta go find the keys. All right, we got the keys now. Let's fire this up. It's working. Pushing fluid through. Brake fluid that we're putting in is nice and clear, and as you can see, that's very yellow. So we're gonna push a little bit more on these back lines. All right, now I'm gonna tighten these two up, and we're gonna do the same thing to the front. Nice equal amounts of fluid in both bottles. We have this snug back up. Now let's crack both front ones. Passenger side, driver side. Added a little more fluid. Now we'll pump the brakes a couple more times. Right now my car is beeping at me, telling me my pre-collision system is malfunctioning because it's seeing that the brakes aren't working. All right, a few more pumps. How is this side looking? Oh, look at how nasty that stuff is in there. We're gonna push that through a little bit more, I think. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to top off the reservoir one more time, and I'm going to open all 4 bleeders. You guys got to leave in the comments if I'm doing this completely wrong and you know how to do this properly. By all means, please chime in, because I'm just trying to figure out how to do this the best way myself and see how it works. So if you got a better way, I'd love to hear it. All right, we have both front bleeders open. I am opening both back bleeders now also. I am going to pump the brakes 4 or 5 times with all 4 bleeders open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it for a second and up. All right, that looks pretty good. I'd say we got a bunch of nasty fluid out of there, some air bubbles, but the line, as you can see, this is all fresh brake fluid in here, nice and clean. So I'm going to tighten all of these now. like that. Come around the back one on this side, snug this one up. Now the idea is this one-way valve doesn't release air back in here, so there's still going to be fluid in this when you take this hose off, but right now the caliper should be all bled, so we should be able to tighten these in theory, and they should build pressure. Tight. And let me just double check here. Got that one snug. All right. And then up here, we are up right on our fill line currently. So we still have plenty of fluid there. So now we should be able to, I'm gonna go pump the brakes, see if we build pressure, and nothing should come out now. And we have perfect pedal. Wow, that worked out amazing, really amazing. That is a solid win, everybody. Solid win. That is a full, Blake. Hi, Blake. That is a full brake flush and bleed with one person, with filming and all that, and figuring it out by myself. That took 15 minutes. Now, that in theory is a solid 5 minutes of work by yourself to bleed your brakes. That is a 100% win. We are definitely winning. We're gonna go pop that off. I'm gonna show you. It makes a little bit of a mess, but not a lot, because you have that 6-inch tube roughly that still has fluid in it. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wrap this in a paper towel, take that off of there, and then in here there's gonna be some brake fluid, and I'm just gonna tube a little bit and work it down into my paper towel here. And that's that. Nice and clean, no drips. Just pulled off the rubber hose with a paper towel, and then we put our cap back on. All right, everybody, bleeding your brakes and flushing your brake system, one person, in 5 minutes or less. Awesome. All right, we're gonna take all the bottles off and then put tires and wheels on this thing. Let's do it. One last thing, we gotta make sure the reservoir is topped off and put the cap back on so that nothing gets in there. By the way, I went a little excessive on bleeding the brakes. I think it could be done without as much brake bleeding as I did, but I want to make sure I got everything out. So I used 4 of these little bottles, and I need maybe 1/8 of a bottle to top the reservoir off. So you probably flush your brakes with 2 of these, but I had literally a whole case of this. It's expensive stuff. I wouldn't recommend bleeding and flushing your brakes using this brake fluid. But we had it in stock. I didn't have to drive to the store. We're gonna top that up, then we're gonna put the tires and wheels back on and take it for a test drive. Remember, everybody, chrome gets you home, and always torque your wheels to spec. Okay? Okay. Put this thing on the ground. Oh, we gotta make sure we move the air line out of the way. And our tool cart. Oh, we're almost there. Hello, Moose. All right, now for the air line. Perfect. Down we go. Moose, we gotta take it for a test drive, buddy. What do you say? We gotta go for a test drive, my boy? All right. We already took you for your donuts. We already did that. So no more donuts for you. Don't need you getting too chunky on me. You'll end up looking like me. All right, everybody, give you a look at this. So this is what we ended up with. As you can see, that's the dirtier fluid, and that's the clean fluid that was getting pumped into it. This one was one of the first ones. Stop, Chance. He wants to go for his test drive. This one here that's extra dirty, This is one of the back ones where I think it pushed the most of the bad fluid out first. But both of those were back, both of those were front. Chance, look at this guy. He's relentless. I'm a boy. I love you, old man. Can I finish making the video now? Can we make the video? Oh, no, not yet. No, I love you kisses, but that's excessive. So, want to show you guys that. So this is how the fluid all looks, and as you can see, that was the cleaner fluid, and there is still fluid left in this line right now, and it is crystal clear. So we have all fresh fluid that was pumped from the caliper on this end, through the one-way valve, through this hose into that bottle. So now we have perfect fresh brake fluid. The 4Runner is back on the ground. Moose and I are gonna go for a ride. What do you say, bub? We gonna go test drive this thing? You coming with me? Shall we do our test drive? What do you say? Yeah? All right, we're gonna go for our test drive, and I will let you guys know how it goes. Come on, old man. We gotta go for a test drive. Let me fix your blanket in here. There you go. All right, up, up. He's old now, so this is why I work out. Curls, okay? He's got a pretty nice little setup. So all my vehicles, I do these hammocks, which are waterproof. I can put these sides up if I want, but I don't have to with him. And then he gets a bed and a blanket, right, bud? Good boy. Isn't he the best? Athena's been coming down off camera a little bit, and she's doing better in the shop, but she still is so curious because she's just turned 5 months old that I can't just let her hang out in the shop yet, because she still tries to put everything in her mouth. Everything. And I don't need her eating a piece of metal or licking something dangerous, because I wouldn't be able to live with myself if that was my fault. Not good. So she comes down a little bit when I have time to supervise, but in the meantime, I still have my shop manager, who is always on duty. Stay. Good. All right. Let's see if we have brakes. You ready, Moose? So we have a fresh oil change. We topped off all our fluids, cleaned our air filter, flushed the fuel system, flushed the engine when we did the oil change. I checked the tire pressure, rotated the tires. We are good to go. All right, break-in complete. Totally successful. We did about 4 or 5 45 to 0 stops first. Then we did probably 5 or 6 55 down to 20 slowdowns. And then we just drove around, the Moose and I cruised around for about 5 minutes to just get the brakes cool and settle in. And we have one last test to do. So we are going to press the e-brake down, put this in neutral, and let off the brake. And we're good to go. The e-brake works. Let's let off, and we're good. Perfect. If any of you are curious about the 4Runner, right now it's an absolute disaster. Don't mind the bullet shells, but I got it pretty well set up in here. This is a touchpad. This has all of my off-road lights on. Of course, it's going to flicker in the camera, but we got our front light bar, our bumper light bar, our ditch lights, our rear lights. We got our side pods. I have a button set up for my rock lights, but I don't have them on yet. We still have 2 extra switches that we can use, and this tells us our battery voltage and temperature. So it's a pretty nice little setup. I run bullet point mounts in every vehicle that they will make them for, and everybody. This is Stinky. He hangs out. That's my buddy. But we got a pretty nice little setup in here. Like I said, don't mind it. It's absolutely filthy. But cool. Anyways, remember, kind of my motto. Look on the back of my Ford there. Zoom in on it. All right, Moose, you ready? Let's go inside. Come on, big guy. You got it. He can still jump out of this vehicle, but I have to take him out of the Ford. It's too high, and I don't want him to hurt his knees and hips and stuff. So he can get out of that one. He's gonna be able to get out of that one. Everybody, Havoc, if you haven't seen my previous videos, is our new shop truck build. Wait till you see what we got going on with that thing, because there's so many parts inside for that right now. Come on, big guy. Oh boy, Moose. There are so many parts for Havoc. Come on, lights, adjusting the camera. Ooh, it's hot out there. Thank God for air conditioning. So anyways, super successful. Actually, there's some more parts for Havoc. There's all those boxes for Havoc. There's a motor over there for Havoc. There's more boxes over there for Havoc. So the shop truck build is definitely real. So stick around and subscribe for that. We have to get some work done on Karma. We're gonna be rolling this thing out, spinning it around, rolling it back in, and then taking the cab off by the door so that I can put my paint tent up around it, because we are gonna attempt painting for the very first time. Should be interesting. Those boxes right there on the other side of my bumper next to my intake are all professional grade paint. Primer, seal coat, base coat, gloss, lots of gloss. We're gonna be putting a minimum of 3 full coats of gloss on that truck. I want it to really pop and also be durable. And more than likely, it is not gonna be sprayed on professionally because I'm doing it for the first time, so I will likely have to sand it a lot to get any of the speckles, runs, and everything else that I'm sure I'm gonna do incorrectly when I do it. So, anyways, that is our part 2 for the Overland 4Runner build named Off Grid. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. All of those parts and stuff I grabbed off at Amazon. I bet you I bought $30 worth of stuff, and I'll have it for who knows how long for all my future brake jobs. And you don't have to call a friend. You can do it by yourself, and it's actually quicker than doing it with a friend, which is even better. Why not just do it yourself? How I do things around here. So, with that said, Moose and I have a lot of work to do. That cuts it for this video. Subscribe, share with your friends. We're gonna be doing a bunch of cool stuff around here. I'm gonna try and throw some of these how-to videos on that I do along the way because I have a lot of vehicles. They all require maintenance. We're always doing cool stuff. I'm also gonna be building some stuff in the shop. We got some shop upgrades, some new cabinets, and the air compressor hooked up, the big one. Got rid of our little one. We got a big one. I am hot as hell. I don't know if you can see how shiny I am, but I'm gonna go get a drink, and Moose and I are gonna get back to work. Remember, nothing stays stock. I'm out.